Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Elwood, and you are watching. There it is, Political Vigilante, making Gotham great again. So, since it's an illegal invasion, we can say it's an illegal invasion of the Ukraine. Russia is doing an illegal invasion, right? And we can be on this show. We're very critical of Putin and Russia, and we can be critical of the U.S. media's just completely slanted narrative. Are the Russians putting out their own narrative? Sure, of course they are. But I want to hear all the different. I just like the truth is what I'd like to get. And one of the things that is completely lost in the Western media is the ties that there are, like, far-right neo-Nazis brigades within the Ukraine that America has helped back, right? So there was a coup in 2014 that ousted the pro-Russian government, and America helped that coup happen, and we backed neo-Nazis to do this. And it's like, oh, some people are like, Graham, you're lying. Okay, I'm lying? Here's a documentary the BBC put out in 2015. The far-right group threatening to overthrow Ukraine's government. July 2015. All right. The right sector is a far right group in Ukraine. They want to bring about another revolution in the country. And this reporter, and I'm just going to show you, this is on YouTube. So the BBC did this. No one in the BBC is bringing this up now. No one in the US or UK media is bringing this up. Isn't that odd? Maybe I missed it, but I'm seeing no one is talking about this.
The protesters are back, but in place of ordinary citizens, now they're battle-hardened fighters. They're the same slogans as last year. Ukraine above all else. Glory, glory, glory. But in the mouths of the right sector, they take on a more sinister aspect. Well, there can be few more poignant depictions of how unfinished Ukraine's revolution is than this sight. All of these people bearing the banners of the far-right group, these people who helped overthrow Ukraine's pro-Russian president a year and a half ago. And they've been telling me that they want to bring down this president as well. Glory to Ukraine, they shout. The banner of the right sector harks back to a Ukrainian nationalist movement from the 1940s. They say the colours represent the blood of Ukrainians spilt upon their country's black.
Real quick, there was a lot of Nazis that were pro-Hitler in Ukraine in the 40s. Just something to think about.
Soil. Their critics call them fascists and neo-Nazis.
We all love our country. If we love our country, we are neo-Nazis or not? I think not. So I mean that we are nationalists. Revolution wasn't finished. That's why the people who don't love Ukraine came to control Ukraine. For me, it's not normal.
On a summer afternoon in the park in Kiev, it's easy to forget all that's happened here in the past 18 months. The revolution, which is known here as Maidan, overthrew the government and then set this country hurtling towards war. Just as it did during Maidan, the right sector has played a key role in the fighting in the east. Its members are more motivated than Ukraine's conscripted regular army, and the government relies on them to bolster their strength. Now they're flexing their muscles. In recent weeks, the right sector has been involved in firefights with Ukrainian security forces in the west of the country, hundreds of miles from the front line. These clashes in Mukachevo on the border with the European Union were about control of lucrative smuggling routes, but it was also a show of force, a signal from a strong militia to a weak government. Don't cross us.
So, I mean, they were fighting in 2015. This is the BBC documentary. This isn't from Russia TV. This is the BBC saying they were fighting. They were supporting the Ukrainian government and then also fighting against them. I mean, the title of this documentary is they could overthrow. This was like, oh, be careful. They could overthrow Ukraine. But it's, I mean, I've shown you this before. This came out, America's collusion with neo-Nazis. Neo-fascists play an important official or tolerated role in U.S.-backed Ukraine. This is from 2018, right? Then there's this report. The CIA may be breeding Nazi terror in Ukraine. And from this, the CIA has been secretly training anti-Russian groups in Ukraine since 2015. Everything we know points to the likelihood that includes neo-Nazis inspiring far-right terrorists across the world. So again, I'm not excusing or apologizing anything Putin is doing, but it's okay that we back neo-Nazis. So I don't know. I want to bring Ron Placone in here to discuss this. He is host of Get Your News On with Ron Placone. Ron, how you doing today?
Graham, just go eat some Russian salad dressing, all right, and stop polluting the internet with this.
That's what I'm doing. I'm just if I'm showing neo-Nazis that are signing up with the Ukraine and America, I love Putin. I'm yeah,
dude, it is so freaking crazy. And honestly, it goes both ways too. I mean, because everyone needs a good guy and a bad guy, and you can't be like, yeah, neo-Nazis in Ukraine, that's not good. U.S. imperialists, that's not good. NATO imperialists, Russia was provoked. Oh, so you're a Putin sympathizer? No, Putin's actions were not justified either. There's bad guys all around. Like, oh, so you're okay with neo-Nazis in Ukraine? No, you just said Putin was bad, though. Yeah, he is. They're bad, too. Well, someone's got to be the good guy and a bad guy because the world is a comic book. No, it isn't. That's the point. The world isn't a comic book. Sometimes there's only bad guys around, and it doesn't mean you sympathize with anyone. You know who I sympathize with? The people of Ukraine who are scared and who are just trying to live their lives and be safe. The people of Russia who are protesting what their government is doing and are still being discriminated against all around the world. Now, it's apparently it's okay to incite violence against Russian people on Facebook right now. Because it's their fault what Putin's doing. I have sympathy for all the other people around the world who are getting bombed by the United States right now. So, it's, yeah. So it's nice that there's a few independent platforms where you can actually have a complex conversation. And I want to say one more thing about all this. Sometimes people will say, like, if you acknowledge, hey, there's no good guys in this situation, it's very complicated. Sometimes people take that as, oh, you're both sidesing. You're trying to be middle of the road. And it's like, no, that's not what's going on here. There is a time where that is the case and a time where it isn't. I'll give an example. An example when that is the case. There is no both sideserism when it comes to universal health care, okay? The insurance industry doesn't have their side of it. They're predators. They're exploiting humanity, basically. So they don't have their side of it. There is one side. You're either for universal healthcare or you're not. End of story. So if you're going to say, well, the insurance companies have a point. The insurance CEOs have a point. No, they don't. Now, this is when you're kind of being in the middle of the road. But when it's a situation where there are armed neo-Nazis involved, there are U.S. imperialists involved, they've been provoking Russia for 8 years and counting, doesn't justify Putin's response, and you're saying, yeah, this is a complicated thing with no good guys, that's not being both sideserism or middle of the road. That's addressing a situation for what it is.
No, Ron, there's no complexities. Pick a team, fight. We just had a Super Bowl. You don't say, I want a good game. You either Rams or Bengals, and you paint your face blue or orange, and you shut your mouth and pick a side and be dumb and boil everything down to the simplicities that are the fight between Coke and Pepsi.
The irony in all this, I was just rooting for a good game in the Super Bowl. That is actually what I was rooting for.
Well, and a lot of people that were betting either the over or the under were doing the same thing. So the side I'm on for this Russia-Ukraine conflict, I'm anti-war. So I'm against whatever side is participating and profiting from and instigating war. That's the side I'm against, and I'm against them 100%. So that side includes Russia, neo-Nazis, NATO, the United States. It includes all of those people.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That's where I'm very clear on this, and people have a hard time. I mean, I wish I had the mental flexibility to be like, I'm anti-war unless the Democrats do it, then I'm all for it. Like, I wish I had that sort of let's go punch a Nazi in the face. It's the summer of 2022, and then summer of 2020, and then summer 2022. It's like, well, let's, war's okay. Let's beat up Russians for no good reason, or it's really, and the thing I keep trying to push on this show and on social media is we're only getting one side of it. Right. And I don't trust the corporate media, and not that I trust RT, but at least they're giving me, I know RT slanted, but at least it's a different side of a slant that I can understand, because if you watch the corporate media, I mean, and the reason why bringing up the neo-Nazi thing is relevant to try to understand where Putin is coming from. I'm not going to try to predict what that guy's going to do, but Americans have no sense of Russia's sacrifice during World War II. They lost 25 million people fighting Nazis in World War II. We lost about 419,000 people. So literally, we lost 2% of what they lost. And so there's a part that's like, I understand Putin going, I don't want Nazis on my border. And the other thing that is not mentioned in the American media or anywhere in the Western media is what has been there's been fighting in the Donbass region for 8 years now, which is what that documentary was showing, starting back in 2014, 2015. And, that region isn't getting bombed anymore by the Ukraine military because Russia invading stopped that bombing. Now, I'm not saying that's why I'm in favor of Russia bombing, but some Ukrainians stopped getting bombed when Russia came in. So, I mean, there's that. Do we want to talk about that side at all? And then again, America has a long, rich history that it loves to not talk about of backing Nazis. I mean, Operation Paperclip, we literally took Nazis from the Nazi party in World War II and brought them to this country to help work in our space program. I mean, that's a matter of public record. And so here we are again, backing Nazis whenever there was also Operation Bloodstone. This is through Freedom of Information Act documents. This isn't some crazy tinfoil hat thing. We backed Nazis in numerous communist countries during the Cold War because we were so against communism that we would back Nazis. Mm-hmm. It's America just switches to whatever side is convenient to benefit our checkbook and our corporations. Russia's been pretty consistent. We're done with Nazis. We lost 25 million citizens.
And the other thing too is, I mean, it was even more recent where there was that anti-Nazi piece of legislation, and the only nations against it were the United States and Ukraine. So yeah, I mean, there's been plenty of times where the United States has shown its entire corporate ass, so to speak. So
yeah, I mean, so again, let's hope, and this is the far right group. There's also the Azov Brigade, which is very openly neo-Nazi, and we're not, that's not being mentioned. We're not talking about how NATO, one of the things too Putin has said is, NATO's been moving east since the 90s, and I don't want that to happen anymore. And so it's, and we'll get into it in another segment in a second, but it's like, there's a lot of complexities to this that the American media just makes it seem like Putin was just sitting around and went, hey, let's go invade Ukraine because I'm nuts, and that's not accurate at all. And
yeah, they're not showing. I mean, yeah, you mentioned they don't show the neo-Nazis in Ukraine. They don't show all the legions of Russian people protesting what their government is doing. I mean, there was just wall to wall people protesting, calling for no war, just saying we
Yeah.
don't want war, no war. And you know, they don't show you that stuff. And the reason they don't show you that stuff is because it makes it a little harder to just sell the hey, we're gonna be at war with Eurasia. We hate Eurasia. Eurasia's the problem. It becomes harder to sell that when when you humanize the people there, even though you know those people aren't Putin himself, but they're still the people there nonetheless. And you're kind of showing that. And when you do that, people kind of connect on a human level. And when they connect on a human level, well, maybe they're going to be inclined to dig a little deeper because they're going to realize, gee, these are just people just like me. I bet there might be a little more to this. And then they're going to find out that, like, oh, wait, we're not the good guys. We're a bad guy, too. We're actually a really big bad guy. And we've been the bad guy for years and years. I guess maybe there aren't good guys. Maybe they're all bad guys. Maybe it's a little more complicated than that. And maybe I should just be on the side of no freaking war.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm on the side of no war. That's definitely the side I'm on. No war, ronplacone.com. Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Elwood, and you are watching the Political Vigilante, bringing truth up from the outskirts of Gotham City, somewhere below Wayne Manor. One of the things we talked about with Ukraine is I really want to focus on America's involvement in this. I'm not excusing anything Putin has done at all, but the reason I want to focus on this because nowhere in the American media is this. You're not the BBC, not CNN, Fox, MSNBC. Nobody is talking about America's involvement. Now, what this country, America, is doing is, there's this thing to keep Americans divided, which is pick a team, red team, blue team. And, if Trump was president, this wouldn't happen. If Biden was, so each side is trying to say this or that. But I just want to show you how the only side that the United States has in is war for profit. I mean, I'm going to show you, I've shown you before, but I'll show it to you in a second, that the defense industry has donated $49 million in the 2020 campaign to both parties, right? So when I hear like the right saying, oh, if Trump would have gotten this never would have happened if Trump was president or whatever, is preposterous. I didn't vote for Trump. I didn't vote for Biden. So this is from 2019. Trump administration approves new sale of anti-tank weapons to the Ukraine. The Trump administration first approved the sale of javelins to the Ukraine in 2017, right? Right? This is from this article. The Trump administration has approved the $39 million sale of defensive lethal weapons to Ukraine, according to two U.S. officials. This is again back in 2019, but the sales under Trump went back as far as 2017. Why is this all about war? Because look at this map. I've shown you this map before. So these are all the American bases that surround China and Russia. Okay. So there's Ukraine right there. That's why we got to get a base on this border right here. These are NATO bases that keep moving east. This is Turkey. This is Kazakhstan. Like we surround these countries, right? So this is also a lot of, just think of this, it's very applicable. Just put a dollar sign where all of these bases are. This is the defense industry. This is the military industrial complex. This is a lot of money that gets spent to do this. So we need to create bad guys. Again, not excusing anything Putin is doing, but we provoked him into this, right? How do I know it's all about money? Well, this is from Open Secrets. This is in 2020, the top recipients from the defense industry. Joe Biden, $3.1 million. Trump, $2.7. So it wouldn't have mattered whoever won, right? And had Trump won, so everybody on the neoliberals, like, if you vote for Trump, we're going to have World War III. Now that Biden is off, the neoliberals are like, yeah, World War III, let's go for it. Like, this is how crazy Americans are and how crazy they've been propagandized. Both sides love war when their guy does it. But even Bernie Sanders got $837,000, right? I mean, this is just the top 10. These are all these members of the Senate. Look at all this money, Senate and the House. They hedged their bets. So war was going to happen no matter what. Here's the bottom 20. Elizabeth Warren, right? All these presidential candidates, just in case. Pete Buttigieg, just in case. Look at all that money spent. There's a lot of money to be made in a war in Ukraine, in a new Cold War. And that's why the narrative out of the United States media is Putin's just nuts. We got to, whoa. That's why there's no mention of like our causing this. Here's something else that just happened in the news that is a part of this. In a nod to Russia, Ukraine says no longer insisting on NATO membership. This just, right? Now, this is from a France 83. So they flip it in Europe. So this was March 8th. This just happened 2 days ago. No one's talking about this. Well, because this is bad for business. Because if Zelensky goes, you know what? I'm being played by America and the West. You know what? I don't want this war anymore. Hey, Putin, pull out of my country. I won't join NATO. I'll send the NATO weapons back. I won't have any missiles on Ukrainian soil. Stop bombing me. Maybe we'll call the Donbass region because that's one thing Putin has asked for. What if that happens? What if Ukraine goes, I don't want NATO anymore. Putin just leave, stop bombing us. And Putin goes, okay. Uh-oh. Then what do we do? Then literally like the schoolyard, like we'll push Zelensky back into Putin. You know what I mean? We'll just be like, oh, Putin, did you hear what Zelensky said about your girlfriend? You know, like we'll just try to get that fight going no matter what. Because America is actually, this isn't in the Western media. America potentially could be leading itself up to getting completely isolated. We talk about Russia as being isolated. I just want to show you this map again. Let's go back to this map real quick. We think everyone's against Russia. Well, Russia and China are now together. India and Pakistan have actually said, we're not going to join. India and Pakistan are in agreement. Iran and Iraq, again, those countries all have centuries-long wars, are all joining. This is a pretty big alliance that could go against the West. Zelensky, again, I just showed you that. That was this is a French neoliberal, pro-NATO, Putin bad outlet posted this. But this isn't, you're not seeing, Rachel Maddow's not talking about this. They're not talking about this in CNN. And then this, right? So our gas prices are going high and Americans, we're being told, just suck it up at the pump to stick it to Putin. Really? Well, Saudi, the Emirati leaders, and the UAE decline calls with Biden during the Ukraine crisis. This was in the Wall Street Journal. Persian Gulf monarchies have signaled they won't help ease surging oil prices unless Washington supports them in Yemen and elsewhere. Weird. So maybe all of these countries that have had to get pushed around by the United States and had to do business with the United States, they might just bail. Zelensky might be talking tough. I mean, Zelensky's also said, I don't like NATO. What's that going to do? And as I said, this is all about money. So I'll bring Ron on to talk about it. We'll talk about this in a second, but host of Get Your News On with Ron. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the Political Vigilante, Ron Placone.
Hi, Graham. How are you?
I'm good, buddy. Thank you for taking time out of your packed, important day to join us here on the Political Vigilante. So what do you like? Obviously, this is. I'm just mainly pointing from the Western side. Now, people can make a fair arguments that, well, Russia and Ukraine have had history for centuries, and that has something to do with this. We talked about earlier about, the Putin not liking that there's neo-Nazis there, but just from the American standpoint, again, this is all about this country is run by the military-industrial complex, and that's why Congress just approved a $768 billion war budget. That's a democratically controlled Congress voted for that. The democratically controlled Senate gave an extra $10 billion to it. So now Biden has $778 billion for the war budget just for calendar year 2022. And this is so much of us pushing this in is about war. And this is what America does. We do proxy wars and we get puppet governments to just so we can profit from it. And the Ukrainian people need to know that the American government, the American State Department does not give a shit about them at all.
They need to know they're being used as a pawn. because
Yeah.
that's exactly what's happening. I mean, the United States is using them as a pawn, just the Ukrainian people and everything. And, there's other ancillary things going on here that, I mean, aside from everything you just mentioned, I guess it's my show now. All right, good. I'm taking over. It's about time. Graham's gone. Good. Where's Graham? Is he still here? Did something bad happen? Or did he just put me on a solo? Are you
No,
back?
sorry. There you
Okay.
go.
Well, I just wanted to make sure you didn't bail.
Yeah, take care, man. Ron, close out the show and tell
Close
people
out
to
the
go to
show.
my Patreon. I'm out.
Well, I just want to make sure you weren't I mean, aside from everything you just mentioned, there's also Joe Biden ain't doing so hot. People are pissed off because you know how many promises he has kept? One, the nothing will fundamentally change one. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. Two, I won't ban fracking. He's kept those two promises. Those are the only two he's kept. Nothing will change. I won't ban fracking. Everything else, he hasn't delivered on, and people know it. His approval numbers are pretty much in the toilet, as they should be. The United States is a complete horror show. We are declining and declining. We are a failed state on every level. I never thought it would ever look this bad in my lifetime. I don't think anyone did. It's freaking gross. And he's the guy, sitting in the captain's chair, shockingly. I mean, it's amazing the way he failed his way up to president. But anyway, that aside, so they know that. Whenever someone's in that seat, we need a war, baby. They did the same thing with George W. Bush. Is it any big surprise that Joe Biden's State of the Union was a mix of the hits from Donald Trump and George W. Bush? That's what that State of the Union was. We talked about it on this show. That was a rollout of some George W. Bush hits and some Donald Trump hits. That's what Biden pulled from. He didn't even pull from Obama, for crying out loud. He pulled from Bush and frickin' Trump. Where, hey, I need to be tough on Putin. We need to do this. The people of Ukraine, blah, blah, blah. That's what he's going to hang his hat on. He's going to hang his hat on that for the rest of his presidency to avoid having to actually do anything for people. That's what he's going to do. I mean, it already happened. They just approved a bunch more aid to Ukraine. Well, just shrugging at the idea of any student loan forgiveness. That article dropped recently. They just approved all that aid to Ukraine for weapons.
Yeah, I want to show you this real quick. Here's what you're talking about. House passes 1.5 trillion spending plan. Ukraine in, COVID funding out. Bipartisan support passed 361 to 69. I always tell people, when you hear bipartisan support, the American worker, the regular American citizen just got jammed in the ass. The House on Wednesday approved measures to ban Russian energy products, provide billions in assistance to Ukraine, and fund government through the fall, but only after Democratic infighting forced party leaders to remove more than $15 billion in COVID aid from the package. Ron, doesn't that make you excited? Just doesn't that get you
there's a word for that. There's a word for when a society spends money all around the globe to pad the pockets of a few while setting the world on fire at the behest of the profits of a few, while people at home suffer and have a complete declining quality of life. It's called an empire. That's the word for it. That's always been the word for it. And you know what happens to every empire? It frickin' falls. That's what happens every single time. We're just another empire.
It's insane. And it's the other thing too. No one, and the thing that I watch here when I see what I always say on the show, follow the money, connect the dots, get the truth, right? So you see where obviously the military industrial complex, they spent $49 million in the 2020 campaign across both parties to ensure that we're going to vote for war. And that's what they pay. I mean, that's what you get. You get a $1.5 trillion plan where most of the money goes for military aid, and to NATO. And, we're sending all this military. Everything's getting ramped up. If you live near any military base in the States, you're hearing and seeing more activity around that base than you've heard in the last 6 months to a year. So, you're seeing more jets flying. You're seeing more people get deployed and all this stuff. And this is what is happening. And this is why I think this always signifies the end of an empire when they spend all this money on war, don't take care of their own citizens, and they just get tangled up in all these wars. Look what, as I was pointing out, So if Russia and China and India and Pakistan and Iraq and Iran and the UAE and Saudi Arabia, they're all kind of going, you know what, we're actually going to line up. Asia and Central Asia, we actually might line up, but we're kind of sick of the West. And the West is literally America, Canada, Australia, and then Western Europe. That's not a lot of countries, man. That's not a lot. And and I want to get your take on this. So that, no stimulus for the American worker, which you and I have just talked about our own YouTube shows. We're dependent upon Patreon and donors and stuff like that. And since unemployment ended in September, we've all seen a downtick in that just from our own businesses. I know other people who run other businesses say, yeah, when the unemployment ran out, everybody kind of saw the money come, and whatever industry they were in just kind of come down just a little bit. We're seeing inflation has been through the roof. Gas in California is now getting up near $6 a gallon. And we're all told, thanks to George Takei, just suck it up and pay high gas prices. A millionaire is telling you to pay high gas prices. That's how we're going to stick it to Putin. Joe Biden said that in his dumb State of the Union speech. This feels like, how many Americans are going to be standing with Ukraine 3 months from now when the gas is $7 a gallon in the summer, inflation is through the roof? And what if we have any sort of economic downturn, like a recession? Don't say the R word, but like, what if anything like that happens? Americans are going to be like, what? Why am I paying more in gas for any of this stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I never at this point can wonder like, well, what's it going to take? Because I'm always just surprised that it's like, oh, people are still taking this. So, I mean, it's at this point where they are just trying to feed you this absolute bullshit of like, oh yeah, it's because of Putin that the gas prices are higher, blah, blah, blah. When you actually look at the percentage of oil we even get from Russia, it's way more than that. I mean, it's way the reasons for gas prices, that is. I mean, this is just them inflating it to try to drum up consensus and to try to just pad the pockets. I mean, the oil companies are soaring right now.
They're
not
profits.
losing. They have record profits. So
and they're acting like the thing that's so nuts. They're having record profits and they're acting like, oh, this Russia thing is like the cost to get oil or change is cost. No, it's not. Like, what are you talking about?
It really isn't. I mean, in the percentages isn't even that high. And they're going to try to use this. I mean, they already are, but they're going to try to use this to drum up production domestically. They're going to try to be like, oh, we got to turn Keystone back on. We got to keep doing DAPL. We got to do this. Meanwhile, all that energy doesn't stay domestic anyway. And it's a small drop in the bucket, no pun intended, compared to a real energy solution, which of course is getting off of fossil fuels. But that's what they're going to try to pull next. So, yeah, I mean, Americans have to say we can't take anymore. Like we have to say we're done. I mean, and I've been saying that for years. I've been saying that since the start of the pandemic. I'm like, general strike or bust. Like that's really the only choice. That's really the only freaking choice. There is no other. I mean, no one. What if we threaten a general strike? Not good enough. You know what? I can give you an example because here's a couple micro strikes that happened. John Deere and Ipcc. John Deere got exactly what they wanted for the most part. Ipcc didn't. What's the difference? John Deere actually went on strike for about 180 days. Ipcc just threatened it. So no, a threat's not good enough. You have to, I mean, there has to be a legit general strike. That will not be fun. That will not be easy. And I don't even know how such a thing can really be orchestrated. It's going to take a lot of brain power from all of us. But if there's another solution, I'd love to hear it. I don't see how there is any other solution other than just, plummeting into straight up feudalism, which some would argue we're already there.
I mean, there's been sort of an unofficial general strike in the sense that the great resignation. I mean, a lot of people just like, nah, I ain't working for your crappy wages. I'm not participating in this. And people are just like done. And now that gas is going to be, $6-7 a gallon, you're already seeing it. I mean, I don't know. Anybody who's gone to the grocery store in the last 3 months, oh my goodness, is it noticeable? And it's not a 7% inflation. It's 20 to 30%. Every product I'm buying almost is 20 to 30% more. So you're telling me my $100 grocery bill is now a $120 grocery bill? That's a lot of money. And now it's my $50 gas tank fill up is now $60 or $70 tank. Like, you got to be kidding me. I mean,
Yeah.
So I just think America is really painting itself into a corner here. And, I'm sure the Democratic Party is begging for Trump to run again, just so they can go, oh, the bad guy. So you just have to vote for whatever awful Joe Biden, Kamala Harris presidency we're going to vomit out in front of you with the worst approval ratings ever. I mean,
I honestly think they wouldn't win.
Yeah, they might not.
I mean, I don't even know if they'd win, to be honest with you. I think Trump could make the argument like, hey man, when I was in office, at least you got some relief. I mean, dude, honestly, I mean, I don't even know if they'd be able to beat him a second time around. I mean,
they
maybe,
might not.
but
I mean, because you're talking, and the thing that's just driving me insane is before what is happening in the Ukraine, Joe Biden had signed more drilling permits in his first year than Trump did. He wouldn't do student debt forgiveness, something he could do with just executive action, which he obviously didn't mention in the State of the Union. You and I talked about that.
Yeah,
he mentioned climate, but he didn't say, "Oh, climate change is real." And we're gonna talk about the IPCC report in a little bit, but like, no mention of any of this. And then we're just talking about more war and this spending that just took out COVID relief. I mean, all these big companies on Wall Street who got forgivable government loans, but small business owners, we have to pay them back.
Yeah.
Right. I had to get an SBA loan to keep this going, and I have to pay it back eventually. Like, they've delayed when I have to start payments. It was supposed to be October of last year. Now it's going to be October of this year. But they won't, and they could just go, no, you don't have to pay that, Graham. You're good. Just like they did for Wall Street, which has had record profits. We have 100 new billionaires during the pandemic. And now you're telling us we got to pay more at the pump to stick it to Putin? Like, what?
Yeah.
It's insane. Like, and I'm sorry, but like, I don't like Putin. I wish he would pull out of the Ukraine. I don't like that he's doing this, but like, if the international community is going to hold America accountable for its human rights violations, we wouldn't have been invited to an international sporting event for the last 20 years.
No, we wouldn't be allowed to leave our backyard.
No, we wouldn't be able to fly anywhere. No one would let us fly anywhere. Like, we would all be stuck driving around America, going to, theme parks and sporting events because no country would let us fly in there.
That'd be all we could do. Theme parks. Oh, that sounds so miserable.
Oh God.
Just like, nothing but it's like, you want some culture? Six Flags. That's all we got.
Oh God. Raging Waters.
There's a Bon Jovi cover band. It's the only live music you get for the rest of your life.
Oh, you want to go on vacation? You get to eat at Toby Keith's restaurant. That's your big holiday trip. Like,
he'd have freedom fries on the menu too.
It's so insane. All right, Ron Placone, you got some tour dates coming up?
I do, Graham. In April, I'm going to be out east for a little bit. I'm going to be in Pittsburgh, Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, Burlington, Vermont, Portland, Maine, Boston, Massachusetts, and New York City. Jill Stein's going to join me for a tune in Boston. That's pretty exciting. And Chris Moen's going to be opening those dates. Lauren Ashcraft will also be on the show in Pittsburgh and New York. You can get tickets for all those shows at ronplacone.com. And then in the summer, I'm going to be at the Reykjavik Fringe Festival. I don't know all the details there yet, but everyone in Iceland, I'll be at the Reykjavik Fringe Festival when that's going on. When I have my show times, I'll be letting you know. And, I'm calling the tour in April the Poutine Not Pipelines Tour. And somebody told me, they said, you know what, Ron, they're taking poutine off menus in Canada because poutine, I guess, is French for Putin. Like, it can also mean, so I'm not changing the name of my tour, though. That's ridiculous. When I named it Poutine Not Pipelines, clearly I meant fries with gravy, and the name of my tour is not changing.
All right, well, I'm excited for the fries with gravy tour, Ron.
That's right.
Folks, I have a live show April 6th. I'm headlining the Blue Note in Waikiki. Go to GrahamElwood.com, and I'll be adding more tour dates. Might be coming to Chicago. Might be doing some live government secrets with Lee Camp over the summer. We might be going to Europe. So stay tuned. Go to GrahamElwood.com. Thanks for joining us, Ron Placone. Boom. Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Elwood, and you are watching the Political Vigilante, bringing truth to you from somewhere underneath Wayne Manor in the outskirts of Gotham City. I talk a lot about climate on this show because it's for real. There was a climate report that came out in 2018 that said we got 12 years to turn things around. It was a UN report. Everybody running for office in 2018 and 2019 and was screaming about it, screaming about it, screaming about it. I was like, if Joe Biden becomes president, he literally said on the campaign trail, middle ground climate policy. I said, that's not enough. And you know who agrees with me is the IPCC. This is their new report. It came out February 28th. Climate change, a threat to human well-being and the health of the planet. Taking action now can secure our future. And I talked about this in a video last week. One of the things they outline in here is like, there's irreversible damage in Florida. Irreversible. There's still a small little window of hope in this report, but we're not going to get this by bombing everybody and ramping up war in Ukraine and wherever else. Increased heat waves, droughts, and floods are already exceeding plants and animals' tolerance thresholds, driving mass mortalities in species such as trees and corals. The scientific evidence is unequivocal. Climate change is a threat to human well-being and the health of the planet. Any further delay in concentrated global action will miss a brief and rapidly closing window to secure an livable future, says Hans Otto Portner. And I just saw this on the internet I wanted to add. Since the Russian invasion, the cost to produce wind energy has gone up $0. I want to welcome to the show host of Get Your News On with Ron, my friend, Ron Placone. Ron,
Hey,
thank you
Graham.
for joining us today, buddy.
What's up, man? Yeah, man, that IPCC report, which was not even mentioned in the State of the Union, they didn't bring up climate change as a topic. There were one or two occasions where he did say the word climate and change next to each other. So bravo, but he didn't bring it up as a topic. He didn't bring up this report at all. And yeah, the report pretty much laid it out. I mean, we got about 8 years at this point. You know, it's not 12 anymore. I mean, it's gone down. We got about 8 years. We have pretty much till the end of the decade to really take some drastic action. And, you know, I was surprised. The thing that surprised me most about that report, and it wasn't necessarily in a good way or a bad way, it was just sort of in an observational way, was how much of it was focused on adaptation. And, you know, when we first started talking about adaptation, I mean, there was that piece that went viral a couple years ago. I think it was called like The Great Adaptation or something like that. But it was an academic piece and everyone thought it was like all doom and gloom because it was just so focused on adaptation. If you actually read it, it really wasn't all that doom and gloom. It just kind of acknowledged what we're going to have to do. And, you know, that's kind of where we're at now, because like we're at the point where there's going to be some damage no matter what. And it's going to be enough damage that we're not going to go back to the way things were. There's going to be a new normal. But if we do better and mitigate the damage, we're not going to be faced with something that we can't adapt to for the most part. And, you know, some would say that's pretty discouraging, but whether you're discouraged by it or not, it's reality. So, you know, the time to act is now.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally, I'm just so mystified as to how like each report every year from the IPCC, from whoever, is always like, no, it's worse than we said. Like the sea levels are rising faster than we thought. The climate, the temperature, the planet, its temperature is getting warmer faster than we thought. Like every year. And then there's these like very tangible effects that are happening. We just had on the island of Oahu, on the North Shore of Oahu, a house literally on the North Shore fell into the ocean because of beach erosion. Like they've been talking about this. And then you listen to like local governments. I mean, Miami, they've had all this flooding. South Florida, I mean, I've read certain reports in the last year that said they're going to have to evacuate it. So that what are we going to have? When are people going to wake up? When they evacuate South Florida, when 4 million people have to come north, or what are they going to do? Build a seawall around the island of Manhattan?
I think you might be right. I mean, honestly, I think it might take like a straight up city is going to just be uninhabitable. And then and only then will we kind of, wake up as a society. I mean, I think a lot of people want action on climate change. I mean, more and more people are saying like, this is the most important issue. This is like such a big deal. But, we have a government that doesn't give a hoot about public opinion. I mean, there's plenty of studies that confirm that. In fact, they actively work against it. So they're not going to do anything. I mean, the one bright spot is that climate change is a world problem. So, while our government is being absolutely repulsive as they always are, other governments aren't. There's some amazing things going on in places like Denmark and Norway and Sweden and China. So you just kind of, where I get my hope is that other places in the world will drag the U.S. kicking and screaming and will, take action enough to mitigate this.
I mean, you got to hope. I mean, there's a lot of, there's like India, which is an emerging market. It has over 1 billion people, and it passed a law a couple of years ago saying I think the year 2035, no more gas cars can be sold. That's why every car manufacturer now has an electric car. Like that changed in a couple of years. I was at the LA Auto Show in just this past December, and every car company had an electric car now.
Yeah. And so you got to strip away their profit motive. I mean, that's the thing. And that's where there's a top down thing. Like, look, I wish we didn't have a society that revolved around Wall Street. I wish we never frickin' did that. But unfortunately, that's the society we have. And that will likely never change in our lifetimes. I have a feeling Wall Street's still going to be going long after you and I are dead and gone, which sucks, but that's just the way it is. But what could we see? Well, we could see a future where they're not, pummeling the profits via oil and gas, and instead have to find profits in sustainable energy, which that means we'll be able to live on this planet. And, I could live with that. I think we all could. So you have to take away their incentive, because in the meantime, and I talked with Dr. Fadl Kaboub about this on my show. It's like, look, in the meantime, none of them are going to give, because they don't want to miss out on all the short-term oil and gas profits. If one of them says, hey, we're completely divesting, one of the big financial firms that really run this freaking place, if one of them says, hey, we're divesting and we're going to go straight up green, legit green, well, they're going to miss out on the short-term oil and gas profits, which means they're going to get gobbled up, and they know that, so they're not going to do that. So they're all kind of just being like, well, I guess I'd like to stay on this planet, but if they're not going to give, I'm not going to give. That's what every firm's doing. So if policy comes in and says, hey, guys, you don't have to have a pissing contest right now, because by 2028 or 2030 or whatever, you're done anyway. It's over. It's against the law. So you have to. Well, then all of a sudden, they're not going to be in this short-term mindset anymore. And they're going to think, okay, we have a freaking deadline. So now we got to work against that deadline, and whoever gets there quicker, they're going to be the one who wins financially. That's a better race for them to be in, So that's why you need some legit policy.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it does, like this notion that the free market will just adapt to it. No, the free market has caused this. So we do need top-down policy. And maybe one of the upsides that could come out of the Ukraine, the Russian invasion of Ukraine, is that America is obviously, we've talked about this before, is America has provoked this. We've been provoking this since 2014. We've been trying to get NATO in here, but we might, as we think the whole world is isolating Russia, actually we're going to get isolated, and Russia and China and India and Pakistan and Iran and Iraq, they're in Kazakhstan. I mean, they're all starting to like line up together, and it'll just be America and, a couple of small European countries. And most of those European countries, like you just pointed out, already have very progressive policy with regard to the environment. China has even been spending, a lot of money every year creating green energy, even though they're still a very, They're
still a big polluter, but they're at least doing something on the other end too.
And I think what's going to happen is they could just economically overtake America, and green energy might just be like the only option left. And it'll force these companies into doing it. And it's, again, I'm not saying the electric car is like that alone is going to save the world. But if you just look at like how these car companies were resistant to it, and now, you know, they all have to have one. And, you know, part of Build Back Better, and there's much to be critical of that, was they claim, at least in there, is electric vehicle infrastructure, which is desperately needed throughout the United States. And it's going to take something like that. And I think I think, you know, this combination of, we're going to have to evacuate one of the cities. And if it's a city that's going to host the Super Bowl, then we'll definitely deal with climate change. If the Super Bowl gets canceled because of climate change,
they wouldn't cancel it. They'd just move it.
Right. But that it's like,
that would be the one situation where like the United States would be able to build something as quick as China can build a hospital. if they had to frickin' move the Super Bowl. We can't, in a public health crisis, we can't get a hospital done ever. No. We can't do that. China could do it in 48 hours. We can't do that. But if it came time to move the Super Bowl, we could get that done in 24 hours, baby. We could freaking nail that. The Super Bowl will still go off. Don't worry.
Pepsi and Nike and Gatorade and the NFL would have a fucking floating stadium in South Florida that like boats could ride up to in like 48 hours. They'd have that thing done.
Oh, yeah. They would play it on literally a sinking ship if they had to. If they would just play it on like the people in the top rows are probably not going to make it. They're probably going to, but you got to die watching the Super Bowl. What a way to go out.
Yeah. Your family gets a plaque that said you died watching the Super Bowl, and you get Tostitos for the rest of your life. So it's going to be really fantastic.
Well, for the first year, they're free. Then it's $9.99 a month if you want to continue the unlimited Tostito supply. But that's, you have to read the small print to see that.
Yeah, it's Tostitos for life with an asterisk, and then it says, well, it's $9.99 after the first year.
One day, I mean, you know, I always thought like, at some point in my life, it'd be cool to go to a Super Bowl. And it was just sort of on my bucket list. It's not, I don't give a fuck anymore. I'm like, I have no desire. I'd rather just be sitting around bullshitting with friends if I'm going to do anything at all. I have no desire to ever go to one of those fucking things. No desire at all.
I went to one in 2002 in San Diego. It was the Buccaneers versus the Raiders. And it was fun. And back then I was super into watching the NFL, and it was cool. And I'm glad I got to go. But now, I mean, it is just the most corporate, like, and I just feel like watching this last Super Bowl at that new sofa, that $5 billion stadium in Los Angeles. That's like, you know, there's tent cities everywhere in Los Angeles. Like that stadium, the cost of that stadium could have ended homelessness in Los Angeles. But I just feel like that last Super Bowl we just had in that new stadium is just like, it just showed the dystopian, crazy mindset of this collapsing empire. Just like Super Bowl commercial, just like, yeah.
And the commercials, a lot of them aren't even clever anymore. Now it's just all about like which celebrity is going to make a cameo. It's like, I mean, we really just have our society completely on autopilot.
Yes.
We just have everything. It's just like, make another Marvel and DC movie, do this, throw money at this, have a celebrity show up here. There's going to be the sports schedule goes off this way. There's going to be a Super Bowl. There's going to be, and look, I'm not saying that there's not some decent television out there that I enjoy. Sure. Of course there is. And I still enjoy a good hockey game. You know, I mean, I got my things that I still enjoy, but it's like, you still can't overlook society is on freaking autopilot right now. We are on autopilot, and we're heading off a fucking cliff. And over the past 2 years, we had a chance where it's just like, okay, what if we just turn around and start driving away from the cliff? We still haven't freaking done it. Are we? I hope so, but we haven't yet. You thought maybe we would have amidst the pandemic. We still haven't, but I freaking hope we do. I don't know what it's going to take.
I think we're going to drive off the cliff
Yeah.
like arguing over ratings, and as we're going off the cliff, they're going to be like, boy, maybe we should let's give everyone a
They're going to be
coupon code.
spilling out Russian vodka from the front window. They're just going to be doing that. Yeah, saying don't call it poutine anymore, call it freedom fries, and then they just go off, and then someone will yell Doyle rules, and then it's just gonna go up in flames.
It's literally, and I don't know that you'll get this reference. It's the end of Doctor Strangelove, where they're all fighting with each other while the planet's about to blow up.
No, I get that reference.
Nice. Ron.
I've seen Doctor Strangelove. It was kind of recent, but I have seen it.
Did you live tweet watching it?
No, I totally should have though. I mean, I tweeted. What I did tweet was I tweeted out the Marvel movie Doctor Strange, and I was like, hey guys, you've been telling me to watch this movie for a long time. I don't see what all the hype's about. And I tweeted the photo from Doctor Strange, and like way too many people thought I was serious. Because I guess they know, like, I do have a reputation for not being great with movies. So a lot of people said, they were like, Doctor Strangelove, you fucking idiot. And I was like, all right, no, I actually watched Doctor Strangelove.
Oh, that's brilliant, Ron. I love it. I love that your reputation overcame Twitter. Well, Ron, tell everybody, I know you got some tour dates coming up. Where can people see you perform?
Yeah, in April, I'm going on my Poutine Not Pipelines tour. I'm not going to switch the name for no reason. I named it back in December, and I'm going to Pittsburgh. That's April 16th. I'll be in Pittsburgh. Then I'm going to Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, Burlington, Portland, Maine, Boston, and New York City. You can get tickets at romplacone.com. In June, late June, early July, I'm going to be part of the Reykjavik Fringe Festival out in Iceland. So anyone in Iceland, I'll be at your Fringe Festival. Once I know my show times and details, I'll be posting that online. But for now, I'll definitely be at the festival. You can get all those tickets and more information at romplacone.com, and subscribe to me on YouTube at romplacone, Twitter at romplacone, all the socials, romplacone. You know the drill.
And I will be headlining the Blue Note in Waikiki, if you're on the beautiful island of Oahu, April 6th. You can get your tickets at grahamelwood.com. Sign up for my mailing list. You get a free smoothie recipe, and I'm working on getting more tour dates in April and May. Could be Chicago, could be California. And also Ron and I are maybe working on some stuff. We'll see what Ron and I can put together. And then Lee Camp and I are going to be doing some live government secrets now that Lee has some time on his hands. So
yeah, he does.
Check that out. Go to grahamelwood.com and sign up for the list. Ron, thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say I tried to talk Lee into moving out to LA, but I don't think I was successful.
No, he's not moving. I don't think he's staying in DC, but I don't think he's moving. I don't think he's moving west.
Yeah, and I don't think he's not a big beach guy. I asked him.
No,
he's not. He's like, I could do it for an hour. I was like, that means no. that means no. That's like, do you ever like ask someone if they're a beach guy and like their answer is totally not a no, but they didn't give you a straight up no? I asked a buddy of mine once. I'm like, dude, man, are you a beach guy? Do you want to come to the beach sometime? And he literally said this to me. He goes, I'm more of a sidewalk guy. He was serious though. He wasn't trying to be funny. And I was like, that's the weirdest way of saying I'm not a beach guy I've ever heard. I've never heard anyone. I'm more of a sidewalk guy. That makes no fucking sense. I was like, clearly, we're never going to go to the beach together. Like, ever. You have no interest in this ever. I'd feel bad if you were there. I was where is a sidewalk to your liking?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I mean, I like going on the boardwalk. I'm like, no, you didn't. You meant I don't like going to the beach, and you said it in the most awkward way ever. I'm not a beach guy. Like, that's all.
It's not that I don't like the beach. The beach is great, but the last time I went, there was the sand and the parking, and I'm just like, oh, you're not a beach guy then. That's what you just said. You just said you're not a beach guy. Like, when you go to the beach, that's like you deal with all that. That's or you lived out at the beach like we do, and you just like, that's why I live there. And so I can just go get the beach whenever I want it. And then people are like, the traffic, and I'm like, oh, all right, stay home. Go to your strip mall. And
I'm more of a strip mall guy. You beach guy? Well, unless there's a strip mall. I really like to celebrate nature with a good strip mall.
I like.
You're just humbled by it. I mean, you're just humbled by an outlet store. I mean, it's some people, they don't see their first outlet store until they're 21 years old, and I am so envious of that people. It's like seeing an outlet store again for the first time. It's so majestic. I go to the Nike store, and I'm like, how can you not believe in a supreme being? Look at this. Look at this.
There's nothing more meditative than just standing outside of that big Best Buy yellow sign and just looking and just like letting it wash over you. It's really meditative.
Yeah. Oh, well, there's studies around that. I mean, the Best Buy sign, it just releases natural serotonin when like the bright glow. It's amazing what it can do for you.
I mean, it's like driving around in like looking for parking in a parking garage. It's the same thing like being on your surfboard, just feeling the waves. It basically has the same effect. It's really amazing.
Looking for parking at a casino is the same as playing basketball for 6 hours. A lot of people don't realize that, but it's like the same level workout, and what it does for you, it's great. It's just fantastic. So yeah, I mean, the beach is like, meh, whatever.
Looking for parking at a casino, that just sounds horrible. Like, it just sounds like the worst. It's like I'd rather have to work in a Taco Bell than do that.
Man, I mean, when you give me those choices, yeah, I think I'd go Taco Bell too, because I would just give people free food all the time. That's what I would do until I got fired. There was a guy who did that in Bloomington. He was the coolest guy. He was always so stoned, but he's like, you guys want some extra shit? And we're like, yeah. And he would just give you all kinds of stuff. He would just throw extra stuff in your bag. He did it for everybody. He was this cool guy.
Love it. Good for him.
Not all heroes wear capes.
No, some of them wear Taco Bell shirts. God bless you, young man. Wherever you are, you deserve our praise and our admiration. You're a hero.
He's on a sidewalk somewhere doing cartwheels, man. He's
he's just walking through a parking garage right now with the sun in his face, just enjoying life. Is what he's doing.
This is what makes it all worth it. It's just walking around that empty parking garage like, this is why I don't mind the high rent right here, man. This is freaking, God, we're going to have a picnic later.
This is what it's all about. This is why you put in the hard out, the long hours. This is what it's all about. You know. Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Elwood, and you're watching Political Vigilante. We're going to do an episode of You Should Know This. I'm here with the host of Get Your News On with Ron Placone.
Hey, Graham.
Hello, Ron. So for those of you who've never watched this before, this is how You Should Know This goes down. It's like a little trivia game. It's fun. Ron is super knowledgeable about bands, and I am not. I'm super knowledgeable about movies, and Ron thinks they're all TV shows.
I think they're all TV shows.
Ron thinks everything is
I
a TV
thought they
show.
were longer TV shows.
Just one-off TV shows that were longer.
I was like, well, this pilot never got picked up because it's too long. Who's going to pick up a 2-hour pilot? I know why this never got picked up for a season.
All movies are just pilots that nobody bought.
They're pilots that got sent to me randomly and nobody else.
Oh, God bless you, Ron Placone. So how this game is played, Ron will say a line from a pretty popular song, and I'll try to guess it, and he'll give me hints, and then I'll say a line from a popular movie, and Ron will try to guess it. And so Ron will go first. I will turn off the chat so I do not see the chat. All right, Ron, what is your first You Should Know This?
There's a saying old says that love is blind. Still, we're often told, seeking ye shall find. So I'm going to have to seek a certain lad I've had in mind.
The Plasmatics.
No. There are a number of possible answers for this, and I will accept any of them. Let me give you another line that's a little more universal. Although he may not be the man some girls think of as handsome, to my heart, he carries the key. Won't you tell him, please, to put on some speed, follow my lead, oh, how I need. The next line's the title of the song, so I can't say that.
Nancy Sinatra, these boots are made for walking.
You're in the right realm. I mean, that's
Really?
though that's not correct, but you're kind of in the ballpark of yes, this is a female singer. And this is definitely something older. It actually goes back way back, but there's some contemporary artists who have done this song. I will accept any answer.
Is this I Got a Brand New Pair of Roller Skates?
You're in the right ballpark, but no, this isn't I Got a Brand New Pair of Roller Skates.
I got a brand new pair of roller skates. You got a brand new key.
Yeah, the song is called Brand New Key. That's
the song's called Brand New Key. That didn't help me at all, giving me the name of the song. But
you were just singing. Well, yeah, no, I was just letting you know.
Oh, that's the song I was singing, was Brand New Key.
Yeah, you didn't hear yourself just sing Brand New Key and the song you were singing, which is also the title of the song. That's pretty bad, Graham. I mean, that's like you literally sang it, and I was like, yeah, the title of the song is Brand New Key. Oh, you just.
I thought the song was called Roller Skates or something like that. I didn't know it's called.
I mean, it could. Those words are also in it. I thought that song was called Rant in E minor for the longest time. When I found out it was called Brand New Key, my mind was blown.
Oh, God. That's how bad I am with song titles. Is like I'll sing the song and not know the title, and I just sang it.
You just. All right, let me. I'm a little lamb who's lost in the wood. I know I could always be good. 2-1, and then that would kind of give the title away. You've definitely heard this song.
I'm a little lamb that's lost in the wood. 2-1.
Think older. Think jazzy. This is not like a. Well, I mean, I guess you could make the argument it's kind of a pop song, but it's not. Like it's not like a pop radio song or anything like that. But you have for sure heard this song.
It's not Janis Joplin, is it?
No, we're going older than that. Although one of the answers is, one of the more contemporary answers was around during that era too.
So this is like 50s music. This is like 50s pop music.
This can be traced back as far back as the 20s, but it has been redone over the years. That's why I said that there's multiple answers you could have here.
Oh my God, the 20s.
Won't you tell him, please, to put on some speed? Follow my lead. Oh, how I need
someone to call my own. Is that it?
You had the first word. Someone
to take.
Clearly, you've heard the song. I mean, yeah, like you had the
someone with a brand new key, right?
Yes, you nailed it. Someone with a brand new key by Nancy Pelosi. Good job.
Ron, it's time for everyone to have a key to their own ice cream fridge, Ron. Ron, Nancy Sinatra has helped the Democratic Party keeping the boots on the American people.
The song is Ode to Ice Cream. People in the chat were telling me to sing it, so they got what they asked for,
and it still didn't help.
No, it helped. You started singing it, like this song. You have heard this song. Someone
to care about me.
Close. Someone to.
It's not someone to call my own. Someone to love me.
Close. Someone to, if you're with somebody, what's something you might do for them in a nurturing way? Someone to
hold me close.
Close. But no, not those aren't the words here. Someone to. What else might you do? She's singing a song to her ideal man, and she just wants that guy to
someone
just
to
kind of
hold my hand.
You've already tried that one. It's still wrong.
Someone.
Did you say hold for the fourth time? You're right. It's
by the fourth time, Ron.
This song's been around for about a century, but it just switched up now.
You never know, buddy. You never know.
You sure it's not hold my hand, Hootie the Blowfish? Nailed it.
Someone will hold my hand with a brand new key. There it is.
Someone to
walk with me.
Oh my God. How? No, you're so close.
Someone to marry me. Someone to carry me.
You had the right letter when you said walk, but it's not walk. Someone to
welcome me.
No. You know what? You had
worship me.
No, you know what? You had the first two letters. When you said walk, the first two letters, W and A.
Someone to watch over me.
Yes. Someone to watch over me. Do you have any artist guess for that one?
Judy Garland.
No.
That's the only people that I know from the 20s.
Well, there's other contemporary answers. I mean, basically, the two main answers you could give would be Linda Ronstadt or Ella Fitzgerald. But the song goes back. I mean, it was originally like a show tune.
Yeah,
like it was some show tune. Like I think it was like a husband and wife duo. Like she sang it. I mean, I knew you. There was no way you were gonna guess like the original people because I didn't even. I would have had to look that up if you guessed that. But Linda Ronstadt, her version's the most famous one I know of, and Ella Fitzgerald crushed it with it too. So, yeah, a friend of mine sang that song yesterday, so it was on my mind. But yeah, it's a beautiful song, and plus International Women's Day was this week, so I figured I'd pull that out.
It only took me about 27 guesses to get it. Man, it was kind of pretty quick, I guess. Kind of a quick.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad. You had to give me the first two letters of the
first. Well, I mean, you've done that for me before. What's another thing that's on the road?
Garbage taxi. This absolutely was my garbage taxi. This was totally my garbage taxi.
I mean, dude, it's kind of a quirky one. I mean, you for sure have heard that song many times before. There's no way you haven't. But yeah, I mean, it's not a song that might hit you right away.
Well, it's the theme song to Garbage Taxi.
It is someone to watch over me. That's why, like, they made it creepy. It was a sweet love song, but then it's like you just see him driving around his taxi, watching people
hanging off the side of the garbage truck, singing it. Someone to watch over me. Garbage taxi.
Garbage taxi.
When are we writing that script? Okay, Ron.
We got to do it, man. I feel like, pressure's on.
Oh. It still should have been someone to walk with me or hold my hand. What did I say? Hold my hand 4 times? That still should have been it.
Someone to hold. Yeah. I was like, nope, still not hold. But, that's still a guess. I mean, those are all good guesses. But, yeah. That's a beautiful song, man. I mean, I really liked Linda Ronstadt's, I think it was like the Who's Next album where she did that song. And then she did a bunch of other killer songs on that. And yeah, I love that album. I'll still occasionally just spin that. It's a great road trip album.
Yeah.
Just like Linda Ronstadt, Who's Next. I have it on vinyl.
Oh, of course you do.
Man. Yeah. I have that one on vinyl.
Of course you have it on vinyl. That's
yeah. What are you going to do? Can't take that in the car though.
Well, it goes with our rice cooker.
Oh yeah. That's right. We bring a record player to a rice cooker.
All right. Let me go with can't remember if I don't think I've done this one, but Okay. All right. Let's go with okay. All right. Have you ever been to Utah? Or no? Do you ever get to Utah? Not as often as I'd like.
Oh, I've heard this. If you ever get to Utah, not as often as I like. Wait, is that the Kevin Costner movie where he's dead? No, that's not it. What's the name of that movie?
That movie, The Big Chill.
Yeah, Big Chill. All right. For some reason, I was thinking Big Chill there, but no, that's not it. But
Nope.
you ever get to Utah? Not as often as I like. Shit. Give me another line.
Let's see.
You must know this movie really well.
Hand-to-hand combat is of no interest to me.
Punisher.
No, but
that's his thing. He doesn't like if you're close enough to stab, you're too close. Yeah. All right, so it's not
great. That's a great guess, Rod.
Yeah. Is it a comedy?
Yeah, it is sort of a comedy.
Okay, so definitely not the Punisher then. All right, hand-to-hand combat is of no interest to me. Do you get to Utah? Not as often as I'd like. Huh.
The same character said hand-to-hand combat is of no interest to me is the same one who said not as often as I like.
Okay. Huh. And it's a comedy. Are we talking 90s? Are we talking 80s? Are we talking later?
Early 2000s.
Early 2000s. Hand-to-hand. Oh, wait a second. American Pie.
No.
No? I thought that was like maybe a Stifler line. Am I close? Is it in like that genre of
No,
thing?
that's like a full comedy. This is more of a
Beverly Hills Ninja. That was a great movie. Napoleon Dynamite.
All right, I think you're going to. So the movie is not about fighting.
Okay.
There is a big fight in it.
Okay. There's a big fight.
But it's not about fighting.
Comedy. There's a big fight in it. Not about fighting.
No, I need to preface. It's not a straight comedy like American Pie, or it's like a kind of an action movie that has comedic stuff in it.
Oh, okay. But it's not about fighting, but it's an action movie. Die Hard. The Christmas film.
No, Die Hard was the 80s. This is the early 2000s.
Oh yeah, fair enough. I forgot.
But similar. Okay, I'll give you. So that's sort of, you're in the same vein in the sense of like that was an action movie that had like funny lines and quips in it.
Okay, this is kind of like that. Fast and Furious. I've never seen any of those, but people like them.
You're
Matrix.
No, there's not a lot of comedy in that. That's
fair. I mean, I've seen that. So yeah, I should have known. Like that's not to get to Utah, not as often. All right, Triple X, the Triple X movie, the Vin Diesel thing.
No.
Okay, that was a pretty bad movie. I actually saw that. To get to Utah, name an actor in it. Who's someone who's in it?
Well, it's tough. I mean,
would that give it away?
It possibly could.
Oh, action movie. Do you get to Utah? I have no interest in hand-to-hand combat. I feel like I've heard that. Like I feel like I know this movie, but it's, as usual, it's like not coming to me. Early 2000s. Action movie, little comedic moments.
I'll tell you this, since you did kind of this thing with your movie genre, it was a remake of a movie that came out in the 60s.
Oh, all right.
The movie in the 60s had a big all-star cast, and this one had a big all-star cast.
Big all-star cast in the 60s and then today. Clue.
No.
All right.
I don't think Clue was a remake. Was it?
Didn't they do it more than once?
Yeah, I think you're right. You're right. They did one in the 70s, I think. Yeah.
No, it was a good movie. Remake. You get to Utah, not as often as I'd like. Action movie. 60s. Is it a superhero movie?
No.
No, it's not a superhero. But they did it once in the 60s. Man. Oh, is it Star Trek?
No. Star Trek was a TV series in the 60s that they then made into movies. So this was a movie in the 60s, and then they redid it again in the early 2000s. And I'll tell you this, they've done more than one.
More than one remake?
No.
Or more than one movie?
They've done, the remake has had 2 sequels.
Oh, all right. All right. So movie in the 60s, remake in the early 2000s, and they've had 2 sequels. You get to Utah not as often as I like. It's an action movie. There's a big fight. You're not thinking, this isn't Grease. No. Outsiders?
What are the sequels to The Outsiders, which came out actually in the late 80s?
Outsiders 2.
There's no sequel to The Outsiders.
Yeah, it was in a strip mall. There was.
I'll do it for Johnny again in the strip mall.
Pink Panther. They redid that, didn't they?
Well, the Pink Panther movies of the 70s, there was a bunch of them. They redid the Pink Panther once with Steve Martin in like the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s. So
I was close.
It's the reverse of that. Like this, the original only did 1. The remake had 3.
Oh, so they did one in the okay. So they have one. What's something they did that with? Where like they did a bunch of sequels. Where like the original. So, but it was just a movie. Like it wasn't a book or anything. It was just like a movie.
Just a movie.
And they're like, we're gonna redo this, and then we're gonna make a bunch of sequels. It wasn't Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Well, that was a book, so never mind. Yeah,
Nope.
I already said that. All right. 60s. Superman. Oh wait, you said it wasn't a superhero movie. Never mind.
No, it wasn't superhero.
Indiana Jones. No, wait, they made a
Not
bunch
a
of those.
remake.
That was just that's a bad guess.
Yeah.
Is it a franchise? Like, is it like a well-known franchise?
I mean, it's an all-star cast in all 3 of the movies in the 2000s. Like big blockbuster cast.
Big blockbuster cast. And it was a remake of something from the 60s. Not a superhero thing, though.
No, they didn't make a lot of superhero movies in the 60s. So.
No, I know. I'm just like, what's something that they remade? And it's not like horror or anything like that. It's like action with a little bit of comedic moments. And they made 2 sequels. It
involves like some guys that are criminals.
Guys that are criminals. Huh. Give me another clue. Give me another line or something. I'm drawing a blank. I don't know. Do it starts with or something.
Let's see. Well, I'll let's see. Let's see. Trying to think of another line that
You're sure it's not Fast and the Furious?
It has a more reputable all-star cast than the Fast and the Furious movies.
All right.
All right, I'll give you this. Well, all right. I'll give you one of the actors' names. Scott Conn.
That doesn't help me at all. It doesn't do anything.
All right, Casey Affleck.
Oh, okay. I feel like that nudges it a little bit.
And they're the two least known of the big stars in the movie.
So it's an all-star cast, and it's a remake of the remake from the 60s thing. Wait, are you thinking is it Mission Impossible?
No.
That was a remake, though, wasn't it?
Yes, that was from a TV show that they made into a movie that they've done several of.
These TV shows throw me off because
I know you think
they're all a
everything's a
TV
movie.
show.
I get it.
It's not James Bond.
No, James Bond. There's no. They're not really remakes. James Bond, but
right, it just kind of kept going.
The original in the 60s had a group of guys that had a nickname.
Group of guys that had a nickname.
Their group had a nickname. They all hung out together.
The Rat Pack.
Yes.
So the Rat Pack is in this movie.
The Rat Pack is in the original.
And the movie's not called The Rat Pack. Is it called Rat Pack Driver?
Garbage Taxi Rat Pack.
Garbage Taxi Rat Pack. So they redid it. Outsiders.
Why would you guess that twice? Like there's no.
I guessed it already.
Yes, you've already said Outsiders. Are you high? Like what's going on?
No, I'm just
there's
running out of guesses.
What? And you think the Outsiders is an all-star cast? I mean, I
the
guess
Rat Pack was West Side Story.
You know who was in the Rat Pack?
Frank Sinatra.
Right. And
yeah. I don't know. Who's the other people? Who else is in the Rat Pack?
Sammy Davis Jr., Dean
Martin,
and Joey Bishop.
Yeah. All right.
So
yeah, that's pretty impressive.
In the 60s, those guys, especially Sinatra, Dean Martin, and Sammy Davis Jr., were megastars.
Right. Yeah.
So who are megastars?
Yeah. I mean,
now the Rat Pack, what city did they all hang out in a lot?
Vegas, baby.
Yes.
Vegas.
That's where
so this is about Vegas.
Aha.
But they made 3 of them.
The first one and of the remakes, number 1 and number 3 are in Vegas.
Oh, wait, Hustlers. No? Is this the thing where they scam the things in Vegas?
Yes.
But it's not Hustlers.
They scam the things in Vegas, but it's not called Hustlers.
Swingers. No, what's the thing where they scam the things in Vegas? Vegas.
The name of the movie is the thing the thing where they scam the things in the Vegas is the best description of these movies ever, by the way.
Yeah. It's not called Hustlers though.
What's that thing where they do that? They run around Europe with the guns. What is it? Saving Private Ryan. They fight that war thing. What was that one?
What's it called? It's not Swingers, not Hustlers, but it's like card guys, card players, gamblers, gambler guys who win card dudes.
Card gambler guys.
Is that
Card
it?
gambler guys.
And then
The
of course,
outsiders.
yeah. Card gambler guys 1 and 2, and then part 3. No, what was it? Side. No, what was
People in the chat are fucking hanging themselves. Like this
I
is
know.
this is
No, what's it start with? Give me the first letter of the title.
oh.
Outsider.
Outsider
Oh.
gambler guys.
Outsider gamblers.
Outside of Vegas
Outsider
gambler.
Vegas. Outer Vegas gamblers. Oh. Oh man, and it's like a word, like an action that they're doing, right?
Well, all right. This is actually the word that starts with O is the last name of the lead character. His name is Danny
Oldman. Over. I don't know if I've ever heard of this.
I guarantee you
I've heard
you've
of this.
heard of this movie. I guarantee you've at least heard of it. Ron, I guarantee you.
And it starts with O. And it's about the Rat Pack.
Well, it's not about the Rat Pack. The Rat Pack
The Rat Pack
played
was
these
in it.
guys in the original. Frank Sinatra played the lead character, Danny O. Blank.
O'Brien. So this is O'Brien's O'Brien's Gamblers.
Gamblers. O'Brien's Gamblers.
Yeah.
There's a number in the title, Ron.
There's a number. All right. So old 45's Rat Pack. Right? Is that it? That's got to be it. I have no idea what this is.
Oh,
Danny
God,
Oldman's
Danny
Gamblers.
Oldman's 13th
Rat
gambling
Pack
party.
Gamblers oldies.
Garbage, old garbage taxis, second
Old
run.
garbage gamblers.
Old
That's gotta be it. Old garbage gamblers. That's my final guess. Starts with O, and it was a freaking remake.
Oh God, this is literally like there's this big band from the 60s. They're named after an insect, the bee, and I'm like the
Is it Ocean's 11?
Yes!
Oh,
Ron
that's it?
Placone!
Oh,
Yes!
I didn't know they made that in the 60s. That's what threw me off. I didn't know that was about gambling. I thought that was about. All right, I got.
It's a heist movie. It's a heist movie. That's why I said action movie. So it's a heist movie. So they go rob a bunch of casinos in Vegas on a fight night, and they steal like $150 million or something.
know they made that in this. I actually did not know that. I didn't know the Rat Pack was in the original in the 60s. I just thought it was a thing because they made Ocean's 12 and Ocean. That's the thing. I was thinking, like, what movies of the early aughts was there like a 2 or a 3? And it's because there wasn't. It was just Ocean's 12 and Ocean's 13. If they would have called it Ocean's 11 2, I probably would have got this. I probably would have nailed this sooner. I gotta watch that movie. You know what? I'll start with the original. I'm gonna watch the original with Frank Sinatra in the Rat Pack.
Oh my God. God, that was so great, Ron. That literally that was better
But
than
Ocean's
Garbage
11 is
Taxi.
not the movie where they count the cards. That was something else, where the Harvard guys are counting the cards.
That movie is called like 21 or something like that.
Yeah, that's a different movie. Now that's the Old Street Gamblers or whatever. That's that movie. That movie's called Old Street Gamblers.
But Ocean's 11, it's George Clooney, Brad Pitt,
Yeah,
Matt
I
Damon.
know. I should have seen it. I never saw it. I mean, I've seen bits and pieces when it would just be on, like at a party, or you know, like if you were like over at a friend's place and it was like on in the background or something. But I never sat down and watch it. I'll start with the original. I'm gonna go back. I don't know if I've ever even watched a movie Frank Sinatra with. Well, I had to have at some point, but I'm like not like I don't know how hip I am to his actual movies.
I mean, yeah, the really good Frank Sinatra movie is The Manchurian Candidate, which is also they remade. But oh god, that was yeah. Looking at the chat, that was amazing. Julia Roberts was in Ocean's 11. Angie Dickinson plays the woman in the original one. Yeah, so George Clooney.
It's funny, like when I throw something out as an aside, that's the actual answer.
Oh god,
like I was just like, was it Ocean's 11 then? I mean, I thought Outsiders was a sure bet, but you're saying it wasn't that. I still think it might be off, and it's Outsiders.
Like the myriad of insanely wrong guesses, and then you just kind of fumble into, well, it's not Ocean's 11. Like
that's funny, man. Another one for the books.
That was fantastic, Ron. I understand when you say we got to do a quick one, because there's always a fear that it could take this long for you to figure out.
Yeah. Sometimes it does take a while, but I was dead. I was like, I'm gonna get this one. I was dedicated.
Oh God, it makes my come hold my hand or whatever that I was saying. It fails.
Yeah, it does. It seems like it seems very forgivable in comparison. Where it's just like, that's the Outside Gambler movie.
Outside Gamblers. Oh my God. Outside Gamblers 45. I mean, that's like fucking, oh my God. The Outside Gamblers 45. You just put a number in there randomly. Like, oh, that's the best. It is the best when you're on the other end of it. Because I was doing it obviously earlier when you have no idea and you're just trying to piece together words that might get close.
Yeah,
like,
you're just trying to like throw some clues in together. Like, was it just Joey Motorhead's Riverside Gambler surprise? Like, yeah, you nailed it. That's it.
Joey Motorheads.
Nancy Sinatra holding the holders.
Rat Pack.
The hold gamblers.
The old Rat Pack's slot machine town.
Old Rat Pack buffet parts 1 through 3.
Oh shit. Oh my God. That's why I love doing the show, because no matter what awful crap's going on in the world, we can still laugh our asses off about fucking
about not knowing
not knowing the most obvious things ever. It's so great. Oh,
fun times.
Dude, thank you so much. Where can people see you on the road?
You can see me on the road in April. I'm going to be in Pittsburgh, Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, Burlington, Portland, Maine, Boston, and New York City. You can get tickets at romplacone.com. And then later in the summer, I'll be at the Reykjavik Fringe Festival. Should have more details on that soon. Romplacone.com for all those tickets. And follow me on Twitter at Romplacone, YouTube Romplacone, Rockfin Romplacone. You know the drill. I'm at Romplacone on everything.
All right, buddy. Thanks for joining us, and we'll talk soon, my friend.
All right, Graham. Talk to you later. Be well.
Later.
Peace.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. We are still in our 9th month of demonetization from YouTube. So support what we're doing at patreon.com/Graham Elwood or rockfin.com/Graham Elwood, which is a blockchain cryptocurrency platform. It's free to sign up, and there's a premium level at $10 a month. And for that, you get everybody on the platform's premium content. Myself, Lee Camp, Ron Placone, Jimmy Dore, Whitney Webb, Kim Iverson, Abby Martin, and many, many others. You can also support what we're doing at Venmo at Graham-Elwood, and go to GrahamElwood.com. We have a PayPal button and a PO box. I also have crypto wallets, which are all in the show notes. Thanks for supporting what we do.